What the fuck is this about?
Well, to be honest with you, this isn't really about anything. This is about us. Try to get her halfway done. Danielle? Danielle, I'd stop right now. The devil's still up here, isn't it?
Yep.
Danielle, you could go back and fix anything in your life, would you?
And where is this house located?
It's in Flint,
Okay, do you remember what street it was in?
Oklahoma, Oklahoma, Oklahoma.
The incident began at a house on Oklahoma Avenue in Flint, Michigan. A 19-year-old waitress, Danielle Taylor, went to visit a group of friends she barely knew. Within 5 days, the friends were in prison, charged with kidnap and assault. The friends claim they were making a movie that night and Danielle was acting in it. She says she knew nothing. She believed she was going to die. When the film was eventually made public, the people of Flint were shocked. Some of them asked themselves how their young people could possibly have thought this was a game.
It's hard to blame anybody for what happened that night. You know, you could blame the town of Flint for being so boring, that there's nothing to do, that these kids have to do this kind of stuff to entertain themselves.
When General Motors closed most of its factories, it ripped the heart out of Flint. Now there are no jobs, and it has one of the highest crime rates in the US.
Jimmy, hey, what are you doing?
Jimmy Carwile and Derek Faxlanger are two of the defendants. They both grew up in Flint.
Do you still want to hang out and whatnot? Yeah, I know. Average day, it's Friday, still nothing to do. My mother wanted me to stop going over towards Oklahoma because she knew there was bad elements there that could possibly get me into trouble. And turns out, Mom's always right. I got a hold of Jimmy and we decided, hey, let's go hang out and party together tonight. So we got together about 6 o'clock. We ended up going back to the house, and after we got back there, we sat around, bullshitted, drank, watched some movies. Danielle was there, Christina, me, John, Trav, and Jimmy.
At 11 p.m., the mood suddenly changed when Travis Payer reached for a camera. What you're about to see is from the unedited tape shot that night. Picked over for clues ever since, it reveals an apparently terrifying ordeal. But is it all that it seems? Among the many twists and half-truths in this case lies one central mystery. Was Danielle Taylor a willing participant?
Say hello.
Hi.
Okay, I have a question for you. You just said hi. But if you had one thing to say, if this was your last day on Earth, what would it be?
Fuck you.
Why fuck you? As I take a drink.
I don't know.
Hey, can you do me one favor? Say ready, set, go.
Nope.
Fine, then I'll say it. Ready? Set. Jimmy, sick.
Do you want to go? Do you want to go or not? Go, come
Danielle is, she seemed like a nice person. She seemed pretty fun to hang out with when I was hanging out with her. She has a lot to say, and she's pretty funny, but that was a while ago. I didn't really get a chance to know her that well, so.
How you doing? I take it it's been better, huh? Well, just think, you're better right now than you're going to be in a half an hour, that's for fucking sure. You can move all you want. You can scream even if you'd like. If you'd like, I'll help. Somebody help!
Travis is really outspoken, not afraid to state his opinion at all. He's a man's man. Travis is like a man's man, you know. Very athletic, very competitive. He's a ladies' man too. We all call him, because he's short, we all call him the ladies' gnome.
Hey, John, Jimmy, smile and say hi.
Hi, Mom.
Those are my boys.
Mom, look at me.
I'm gonna be a little bit late for school today. I was too busy, you know, gagging and killing some girl.
John always wanted to be the horror movie director. He wants to make the next Friday the 13th. He wants to make the next big thriller slasher. He wanted to make a film that would gain him some notoriety. Well, be careful what you wish for, boys and girls, because he got his notoriety.
Enjoy that pain.
No.
It's the last thing you'll ever feel.
It never, ever hurt again.
Danielle is trussed up by John Cockrell and Jimmy Carwile, but the effectiveness of the binding will later be called into question. How serious about the kidnap were they?
Another beer down the drain.
We're gonna be fucking cult heroes.
Trying to get around here. Hey, Derek, you're an accomplice. Why don't you say hi?
All I have to say is,
What do you got to say?
to be able to know pain is to accept death.
And the thing is, dude, she's kicking like a little bitch.
Do you accept death? Do you know pain? Do you know what pain is?
Derek, I love you. Just move me out of this fucking corner.
Hey, Derek, give us an evil smile.
What really makes me tick is getting under people's skin, making them aggravated and make them think about what their beliefs are and maybe that they're wrong.
If you scream and you fight, we put a gag in your mouth and throw you in the trunk. If you relax and accept death and what's coming to you, and take it like a real fucking woman would, and you just accept fate and realize what's gonna happen and stop fighting.
Don't struggle. It's not
Believe me, don't struggle. She's watched many of these.
You guys are fucking psycho.
Really?
A little bit, sometimes.
You're the one that wanted to hang out over here. Yeah, well, I never realized you guys were fucking psycho.
Hey, you realized just in time. It's your film debut.
This is gonna be fucking great, man! You ever ask what you're getting into before you get into it? I fucking feel a Grammy, man!
I don't know, I'm a fun-loving guy, you know, I always try to get everybody to laugh, comfort people when they're sad. We're not bad people, we're not violent people, we're just bored, drunken kids, you know, we're just out looking for fun.
Any fucking movement, if you even so much as sneeze for a half an hour, I'll slit your fucking throat.
Well, I want to be comfortable, so I'm gonna
Well,
warm
since
up.
everybody finally realizes you're behind this plot, instead of just, you know, getting the girls over here, why don't you say a little something into the camera?
A little something into the camera.
That's my girl.
Me and Christina never really got along, and I don't really like to talk about her that much because a lot of this, I think, has to do with, it's all her fault. I believe the reason that this happened is because of jealousy.
Oh, for a second, I thought somebody's at the door. Keep the dog in there.
4 of the friends leave the house and put Danielle in the back of a car. Christina Lum is driving. Derek Faxlanger stays behind. Danielle is taken to woods half an hour out of town.
Every demon, every fucking ghost that you have in your past, everything that you've ever wanted to say, I'm sure this will be seen years later. I'm sure we'll all be dead, either that or in prison. But you may as well say them right now.
Travis, he's the strong one. He never breaks down. And nothing could ever hurt Travis. And that's what a lot of girls think, because he's just so big and macho. And that's what I thought about him. He just had that image where he couldn't ruin his image. He had to be that strong person, and that's how he was. And he still is.
Last girl, she said nothing on this car ride. You know why?
She's fucking dead!
She never made it out of the house. She was in the trunk on this ride.
In this section of the tape, Danielle's apparent terror and the use of a knife will become crucial evidence for the prosecution.
No matter what anybody else says, I have a million people that fucking hate me. You can't let little shit bother you. All right, you have, I don't know, let's count down. You have 15 seconds to say whatever you want to say.
As they approach the woods, Travis Payer tells Danielle to say goodbye to her family.
Mom, everybody, I love you. I'm sorry for everything. And to you guys, I really don't have much to say to you guys, because I can't say nothing.
Why can't you say anything? Is your life good?
Yeah, well, it was.
Did you think that before you came over?
Yeah.
Three days later, the film is in the hands of the police. The 5 friends are in custody, but the full implications of the tape are not realized until it's shown in court.
I woke up early in the morning and a state trooper called my house and told me that there was a warrant for my son's arrest. I mean, they told me it was for assault with a deadly weapon or something along those lines and kidnapping, and I thought, that can't be my son. My son wouldn't ever do anything like that. And I just sat there for several moments, just absolutely in shock and disbelief. I almost thought it was a joke. But he assured me it was absolutely a real thing and suggested I wake Derek up and have him turn himself in, or else they'd come to get him. And so I went and woke him up and told him he better eat a nice good meal and take a shower, because it might be the last one he gets for a little while.
Apparently everybody else knew more than I did about what was going on, because I kind of passed out drunk. And everybody fills me in still on random pieces of what happened.
I woke up to probably 7 state troopers in riot gear swarming up the stairs into my bedroom, and shotguns in the face. They took me and they ripped me on my bed, threw me around, handcuffed me on the floor, picked me up, tossed me down the stairs, and then all of a sudden we're on the news being seen as serial killers. I felt like Jeffrey Dahmer walking around in a pair of oranges, you know, just overkill, way overkill.
Calling People versus Carwile, number 0675, Cockrell, number 0674.
Now the 5 defendants have to face Danielle Taylor at a pre-trial hearing in court. If convicted of kidnap, they face a minimum of 9 years and a maximum of life in jail.
Date and time set for preliminary examination. Prosecution ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Could call Danielle Taylor.
2 questions lie at the heart of the case. Did Danielle know she was acting in a movie? And was she taken from the house to the woods against her will?
You solemnly swear the testimony about to give in the cause now pending is the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, please watch your step, be seated, and spell your last name for the court reporter.
Taylor.
And your full name for the record, please?
Danielle Nicole Taylor.
And do you recall whose home you were at in the evening hours of March 6th?
Travis Paez.
Okay, can you speak up just a little bit for the court recorder?
Travis Paez.
And do you remember who else was present on the late evening hours of March 6th?
Yes, I do. Christina Lum, Jim Carlisle, Derek Faxlinger, Travis, and John Cockrell. At approximately 11 p.m., we were just hanging out, having fun. We drank a little bit and supposed to just be a little get-together.
Guys, we're gonna be famous just as long as this isn't watched in court.
When I first saw the tape, I was in the courtroom. It was like watching strangers almost. I was horrified. We didn't see the whole tape in the courtroom. The judge cut it off shortly into the film.
Quite frankly, it was one of the most repulsive, sadistic things I've ever seen in 24 years.
Within 2 months, all the defendants have been released on bail until their case is resolved. But the prospect of life imprisonment hangs over them.
ABC 12's Michael Rosenfield spent the day in Lapeer County District Court. He joins us now with the story. Michael?
Angie, this is the first time we've heard and seen the victim in this case, 19-year-old.
The media circus descends on Flint when the tape is released by one of the defense lawyers.
It was all a prank.
She's hung out there before. This is not the only time that she has hung out there.
Really,
and it needs to be heard.
it was demented if you think about it.
Videotape shows 4 individuals who are extremely mentally traumatizing another individual.
Local journalist Jim Smith has been following the case from the start.
This kidnapping case is one of the strangest things I've ever covered. And I've covered some strange things. The Dr. Gavorkian case, I was one of the original reporters on his first assisted suicide. For me, this is in the top 4 or 5 anyway, of all the cases that I've covered in 20 years. So you had such diverse opinions on both sides of this case. You had people that thought it was nothing, and you had people that thought it was extremely serious. The community was totally split over whether these kids were the most evil thing that ever happened, or they were just kids that pulled a prank.
He has kids.
Even the defense lawyers are divided about how much Danielle knew. Derek Faxlanger's attorney is more objective than the others because Derek is less implicated. He almost lines up with the prosecution.
Well, when I first saw the tape, I was taken aback. I mean, I get the sense right out of the chute that it was the girl was legitimately scared. And I didn't think that she was faking. And I had to watch it a few times for it to really sink in.
Danielle absolutely knew what was going to take place that night. She was over at their house the night before. They had sat around and talked about having done this before and doing it the next night.
I walked into the house and they had the camera on. Travis asked me to speak to the camera.
But if you had one thing to say, if this was your last day on Earth, what would it be?
Fuck you.
Why fuck you? As I take a drink.
I don't know.
Hey, can you do me one favor? Say ready, set, go.
Nope.
Fine, then I'll say it. Ready?
Out of the corner of my eye, I had seen something, and I moved to the other side of the room.
Jimmy, sick.
Do you want to go?
They started to tackle me. They wrestled with me until they got me to the ground. I was fighting with them trying to get away. I didn't manage to get away. One of them tied my feet together first. I was still fighting. And then they managed to get one hand tied. They flipped me over and then they tied my other hand behind my back. At one point, Travis had said not to fight, scream, kick, or anything, or I will die.
And were you participating in some type of a play or movie at this point?
Not that I know of. I did not believe that I was.
We told her in advance anyway. She knew about this 4 or 5 days in advance. Told her that, we're gonna kidnap her, take her to a hole, and we had nothing written down. Everything was ad lib. We just told her we was gonna get her We was gonna get her one night, so be prepared.
You guys are fucking psycho.
Really?
A little bit. You're the one that wanted to hang out over here. Yeah, well, I never realized that you guys were fucking psycho.
Hey, you realized just in time. It's your film debut. John, you watch her for just one fucking second, all right?
They all started talking amongst themselves. And I do believe it was John who blindfolded me.
And after you're blindfolded, do you remember hearing any other statements?
That still, if I kicked or screamed or fought, that I would not make it out of the house alive.
Do you remember who said that?
Travis did.
Defense lawyers focus on the detail of the tape to make their case. They claim Danielle's announcement that her hands are untied shows that she was joining in with the film.
I don't know if you care about the rope, but it came off my arm.
They had given her some specific threats at that point in time, telling her she was going to be harmed if she attempted to get away. I think that she's just trying to make sure that they understand I'm not trying to escape.
John.
There's a part when she reaches up and scratches her nose. It happens instantaneously and puts her hand back behind her back. Well, unless she's triple jointed, she could never do that. It wasn't like they jumped on the fact that her hands were free. She put her hand back behind her back and they continued filming.
Danielle, like I said, not a fucking word. Jimmy.
Right before she gets in the car and scratches her nose, we're again in a situation where they've given her a clear choice. We're going to either do this the hard way or the easy way. I think at that point in time, too, she sort of tried to placate them and play along. She probably was thinking that, you know, at some point in time, she's going to be able to make a shot at getting away.
I can't believe that she was scared or anything like that. Thought we was gonna kill her with the knife that was taped.
The defense makes much of the fact that the knife blade was covered with sticky tape.
I mean, I'm looking at the knife right there, and you can see that there's something around the end of it, but it's very thin. I don't know how that would disguise the end of a knife. Now, see, she's moving her head, and he's got that knife right in front of her face. I don't...
If she would have said stop, we would have stopped. But she never said stop or don't do this to me. If she would have, we would have done it. We would have stopped. But she never said stop. So we never honestly thought she was frightened. We never thought she may have thought her life was in danger, or else we would have stopped.
You can't let little shit bother you. Nothing can get in your way of you and what you want to do unless you let it.
And she's a darn good actress if she's acting there. I think she's clearly confused, but I think at that point she's got some questions about what's happening. I don't think she has no idea what they're planning. And I think that sort of summarizes the case. You got half the people that think it's a joke, and the other half who's thinking like she is, that she's terrified. Here's this knife that she can't see, and he's touching her with it.
Jimmy Carwell, now out on bail, is living back home with his father, Steve.
I'll go down fighting because I want my name cleared. It's scary. I don't know what's gonna go on. I don't know if I'm gonna walk out of the courtroom on the last day or if I'm gonna be handcuffed and sent to Jackson prison, you know. My whole life's riding on 35 minutes of a drunken movie.
The first thing I thought, what did I do wrong? I sat there and couldn't sleep and wondered what I done wrong, and that's what saved my thoughts and everything, knowing that this was meant to be a homemade like scare movie. And that was the main purpose of this, and nothing was meant to be anything but that.
This whole incident has flipped my life upside down, kinda. The only thing on any of our minds that I was aware of was, hey, let's get together and bullshit, watch some movies and party. And that's pretty much what I did, and found out all this other stuff kind of happened around me. Truthfully, at some points, I do think that she looked scared. And that might come with, maybe she was acting, I don't know. I really couldn't comment on what really went on. I wasn't around it.
A lot of things don't add up, though, because if you think about it, if she did know it was acting and she would have just been putting on an act In which case, I think at some points of the video, she was very convincing of her role. But at the same time, if it wasn't an act, I don't understand why she wouldn't go home and tell her mother or contact the police. I know if I were in her shoes, I would have done that immediately. Definitely.
It took 2 days for Danielle to go to the police, and the way in which the tape reached them was to raise questions about her state of mind after the filming. Perhaps she was not so afraid of her attackers after all.
The fact that she wasn't afraid to go over there. She wasn't, you know, she allegedly was afraid for her life from these people that had threatened to kill her, and she really believed it was true. Yet, the next day or 2 days later, she goes over there on her own volition to steal the tape.
There's got to be something wrong there now. I mean, whoa. It's like you didn't like it in the whale's belly, so you stepped out. Oh, let's go back in a couple. Oh, he didn't bite me this time. Let's go a third time. You know, it's like the little girl crying wolf.
Two days after the incident, Danielle went back to Oklahoma Avenue to retrieve the tape. Defense lawyers claim this proves she was a consenting participant in the film, and that her motive for going to the police was not fear, it was romantic revenge. If she had ever been afraid for her life, why did she ask Jimmy Carwile to drive her back to the house where it all happened?
She wanted somebody to come pick her up that night when we all watched the film together, so I drove and I picked her up, and she rode with me from here in Davison out to the east side of Flint.
You indicated to Trooper Rogers that you wanted to get the tape.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Why did you want to get the tape?
Because if they found out that I had gone to the police, they could destroy it. If I acted like I was friends with them and went over and watched the tape, they wouldn't believe that I would be getting the tape or that I could be taking this to court. I do believe that they didn't know that I was that upset about it. At first, it was just talking, hanging out. I asked to watch the tape. We didn't sit down and all watch the tape together, but I ended up watching pieces of the tape. I just left it in there for a little while, and then everybody had gone out of the room. Nobody was anywhere to be seen, so I took the tape out and switched it with a different tape.
We never noticed that the tape was gone. It was nothing of our concern anyways, because we didn't know that she was planning anything like that. We didn't know that she was actually terrified. If she's that terrified, why'd she ride alone with me in a car, and why'd she put herself in danger to come back to us?
If Danielle was in on it, why would she report her friends to the police? The defendants claim the clue to Danielle's true motivation lies in the tape itself.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions on the way, and I would answer, okay? I'm trying to be nice, aren't I? Why is it? What originally made you actually start coming over here? Turn it down a little bit. Travis. What's Travis? Travis. What was it about Travis that made you start hanging around us?
Thought he was a nice guy.
Thought he was a nice guy. I am a nice guy, aren't I? I've been trying to be nice to this whole thing.
She had a crush on Travis. It was just plain to see, it's easy to see that she had a crush on Travis.
Did he have a crush on her?
No, no.
Travis had a variety of girls, I guess. I don't know, girls flock to him. It's kind of nice. But I think he was seeing Sarah or Christina. I think Danielle might have had a crush on him, and seeing my friend Jessica too, I think.
I don't know what it was, to tell you the truth. It was his eyes. It was his eyes. I really can't explain why I was attracted to him when I was. It's just something that you kind of fall into.
At the time of the incident, Travis was living with Christina Lum, but Danielle and Sarah had their eye on him.
Christina and Danielle, they were competitive against each other because they both had a crush on Travis. So there's real competitive, a lot of tension in the air between them two. They didn't care for each other.
The day after the alleged kidnap, Danielle called Oklahoma Avenue and spoke to her rival Christina and then to Travis. She had an odd question to ask.
Let me ask you this, Miss Taylor. You in fact contacted certain individuals at that home after this incident took place.
Yes, I did.
And you specifically mentioned my client, Christina Lum, who was your friend in high school, correct?
Not friend.
You spoke to her about the availability of Mr. Paya.
Yes.
A potential relationship with Travis Paya, is that what available means?
In a sense, yes.
There was a lot of girls that were interested in Travis, but none of them had a chance. They thought they did, but they didn't. They just tried to get him to like him, tried to do anything. They tried too hard. And obviously, he didn't like that, so.
And then you said you talked to Travis?
Yes, I did.
Was that also by phone?
Yes, it
What
was.
did you talk to him about?
Why he did it.
And what did he tell you?
He said, do you know how much power we have over you when we did that? It was basically a power trip, and it's a rush.
The people of Flint had to ask, did their city have so little to offer that a group of friends was driven to entertain themselves in this way?
Oh yes, Flint. Many grievances with this city. A city is cesspool and filth and disgust. No jobs, nothing to look forward to. Nobody wants to be the person 20 years from now still stuck in this nothingness.
I tell my kids all the time, you have to go to college, you have to get out of here, you have to make a better life because there's no future for you in Flint.
The group from Oklahoma Avenue dreamed of escaping Flint by making movies. The horror theme was something of an obsession. What happened to Danielle had happened before.
Week before night that I stopped over there, they went through another skit with a different girl. Went through the struggle scene and this, that with her. I like movies, but I don't know if I'm into that. So we kind of took off.
The woman Derek saw it happen to is Sarah Hultquist, but recollections of the events of that night differ.
One day, I just walked into Travis's room and they just started, just wrestling with me and throwing me on the ground and, just saying, we're gonna kidnap you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, guys, really, I'm not in the mood today. Like, this isn't funny. I don't want to do it. And they kept on doing it more, and I'm like, okay, just stop.
The reaction we got out of Sarah would have been awesome to get on tape because that was better than any acting. That was Oscar-winning material right there.
I was not scared.
She absolutely flipped out. We stopped. She was so scared we stopped. We did it for like 3 minutes and stopped because we was afraid she was gonna have a heart attack, go into convulsions or seizures or something. She absolutely flipped out, so we stopped.
It was muddy when they did it to me, so they did not stick me in the hole. I remember saying, and I feel horrible for even saying this, I remember they got the handcuffs out, or they didn't have handcuffs, they got the rope off me. And I was like, why didn't you guys videotape that? Like, you could have made so much money off that. And 2 weeks later, my friends get arrested for videotaping a kidnapping.
Sarah Hultquist was not the only other victim. The friends had even done this to one of their own group, the defendant Christina Lum. Were Sarah and Christina told in advance? Again, the stories conflict.
They told me they were gonna do it before they did it. I remember where we were sitting when they said it.
Sarah wasn't told beforehand. I know that. I don't know if Christina was or not. I wasn't there for that.
So why did you tell Danielle?
Because she didn't know us as long as the other girls did. She didn't know us as long and as well, and we didn't want to scare her or flip her out. And, we wanted to film, so we wanted her permission for that, too.
If the defendants are claiming that she knew that they were going to film her and do something, but she didn't know what. You still have the problem in this case, in a kidnapping crime, that if you're going to move somebody, abduct them against their will, then that is the crime. If it starts off that, hey, we're just going to film you doing something, and then they end up gagging her or binding her and threatening her, that goes beyond what they originally told her. If she does not give them consent to do that, whether it's 5 miles or whether it's 5 inches, it's kidnapping.
It has been 6 months since the incident, and the strain is taking its toll on friendships within the group.
I have lots of hostility built up from all of this. I mean, Travis, well, I want to say I trust him as far as I can throw him, and that's not too far, but no, I couldn't say that. I don't know, I have different convictions about different people's roles and what happened that night and how I got in trouble that kind of get to me still. And personal reasons on how they treat different girls that I'm friends with.
In September 2002, the defendant's case that it was a pre-planned movie is seriously undermined. Christina Lum breaks ranks and makes a deal with the prosecution in return for a lighter sentence. She claims that no one told Danielle what was going to happen. The defense now focuses on the final scene at the graveside.
Danielle, I'd stop right now. You're talking.
6 months after her arrest, Christina Lum pleads guilty to attempted felonious assault. Having admitted that Danielle was not told about the prank, Christina agrees to testify in court against her friends. In return, she is given a lenient sentence of 5 years probation.
Christina got upset. I think she took a plea bargain because Trav went out with some other girl instead of her, and then Danielle, I heard pressed charges because he wouldn't go out with her. So I don't know, I've heard lots of rumors, really didn't have much involvement in what went on or really know what went on. It's just kind of the unlucky eyewitness.
Christina also confirms that Derek passed out on the couch early on. In January 2003, Derek's charges are reduced and he escapes with 6 months probation.
My concept of friendship has kind of changed. I start hanging out with the friends I probably should have been hanging out with all along. I still hang out with Jimmy once in a while, but we're both working, and we've been friends for a long time. Can't turn our back on each other, even if we have different views on what happened that night. I wouldn't like to see any of my friends picked apart in court. There you go. Are your lawyers going back on Tuesday, or?
I don't know. I honestly have no clue. I haven't heard anything since the last time we went to court.
What's the sentences ahead of you?
There's felonious assault without intent to harm, that carries up to 4 years. There's conspiracy to the felonious assault without intent to harm, that carries up to 4 years. There's kidnapping, that carries 25 years. Then there's conspiracy to kidnapping, which carries 25 years. So altogether, I'm facing 58.
Now that Christina is testifying for the prosecution, the closing moments of the tape, as Danielle is carried into the woods, are even more critical for the defense.
Travis carried me down to the boat. I knew I was outside. It was cold. I could feel the snow. Well, I knew we were stepping on snow, but that's all I knew.
Guys, set her down in there. Yep. Set her down, face up.
Jim and John placed me in a hole. They said it was my grave. I was going to be buried alive.
Danielle, I'd stop right now. You're talking. They're gonna set you down. As soon as you say one word, I promise to Christ, you won't say another. We're giving you the chance. For what it's worth, enjoy what you have left.
I'm gonna let you know what's going on right now.
He's gonna talk to you all day,
John
right?
was whispering in my ear, telling me step by step what they were gonna do. He said
Scream right now.
that they were going to bury me alive, they were gonna slit my throat, and they were gonna leave me there.
What did you think at that point?
That I was gonna die.
Danielle, I want to ask you one last time while we still got time. If you could go back and fix anything in your life, would you? You honestly would?
I'm not sure who said that they wanted me to see this. They wanted me to look at where I was at. Someone took my blindfold off.
You know who?
I'm not positive right now.
When your blindfold was removed, what did you see?
Saw that I was sitting in a grave. Travis was talking to them. They were still recording. Christina had the camera then.
Do you really hate me, Danielle?
I don't hate anybody.
Even though I was a bitch to you, you don't hate me?
No.
Thanks.
Well, what do you say, guys?
I think it's time.
It's time?
Yeah.
All right, I get the honors, right?
Yeah.
Travis said that it was his kill. It was his turn to do it. Then he managed to get over the hole and act like he was slicing my throat.
Where was the blindfold?
It was on my throat still.
And what did he do with the knife?
He put it across my throat in a slashing motion.
And what did you feel?
I felt the blade, but it wasn't like touching my neck really hard.
Congratulations, you're dead. Welcome to the afterlife.
She's clearly acting because we know her throat wasn't slit. We know she's not dead, but she pretended, she acted, she went along with the play as she was doing all along.
If a person thinks they're having their throat slit, do they really know what it feels like? Number one. Number two, if he didn't do a good job, she leans forward. She thinks that she may, at least be able to feign her death or feign her way out of this. They may get up and run away right then and there to cover their tracks.
That's never happened to me in real time, so I don't know how I would react. I don't know if I would be waiting for the blood to run out or what, but I just think it's hard to make a case that her reaction to that proves it's a movie. She may be stunned, she may be shocked, she may still be confused about what it all is, but I don't think it means she's part of it.
We only have like 38 seconds left. Here, John, you take the camera.
John?
Oh my God.
You want to do the roll? So let's get the cast.
Well, we got Trav,
Oh, you started with me? Dude, I'm blushing. I appreciate that.
killer number 1.
Thank you. I'll be here all weekend.
Christina's the driver. Jimmy,
He's gonna take up the other, rest
Batman.
of the film.
The victim.
The victim?
I can't remember her name.
Doesn't matter.
Danielle.
She's dead anyways.
And the director, me.
Good job.
Who wrote it?
We did. You did, mostly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you to the Rancho crew. Let's fucking let's get her out of this.
I survived, and I'm freezing, and my
Guess
arms
what?
hurt.
If you move anymore, I swear to God, I'm using a blade to do this. All right?
At the end of the tape, there's just a brief flash where she's crying and seems very relieved and happy. And I think that anybody who thought or have been through this mind game, and it's a very significant mind game, would be relieved.
With the reaction you would expect to be one of anger, one of you with a lot of foul language, I can't believe you guys did this to me. This was a very cruel and inhumane joke to play on a person. You wouldn't expect them just to be like, oh.
She's still with these people. She's not free of them. So, she's probably anybody would be careful not to do something that would further antagonize these folks.
I can't remember her name.
Doesn't matter.
Danielle.
Anyway.
Because he doesn't know her name, I think that enhances the prosecutor's case that, look, she's not a part of the act. I mean, she doesn't get up and laugh and take a bow herself. She doesn't get her credits, where credit would be very much due if she was acting.
It leaves a lot of questions in my mind. The more I see it, the more questions I have about the guilt of these kids and or the innocence of this girl.
I think these 5 kids know the difference between right and wrong. I think the problem was that in their kind of strange group dynamics, this to them wasn't wrong. This was a joke, this was some kind of prank, and they never equated it with the fact that the victim didn't have any clue what was going to happen to her. And so to them, for some reason, they didn't recognize that as wrong.
I think they took it too far mentally. They shouldn't have maybe tore a person down that much for their own enjoyment. I think that's wrong.
If you could say something to Danielle right now, what would it be?
I'm sorry if I caused you any pain. We didn't plan to cause you any pain. I don't know what went on, what's going on in your head, but we meant no harm. We meant no harm, and I'm sorry if we did harm you, but...
All around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for the daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow.
I just want this to be over with. Don't want to be recognized for anything. Just want to go on and live my life and not have people look down upon me because, oh, you're that, kidnapper guy or anything like that. I just want to live my life back to normal, back before all this. I just want to be who I was.
In circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen.
Shortly before the case is sent for trial, Jimmy Carwile, John Cockrell and Travis Payer plead guilty to lesser charges and receive reduced sentences.
Hello, teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kind of funny, I find it kind of sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. The people run in circles, it's a very, very mad